Yo, hustlers, what up, what up? Welcome back to the HustlePedia podcast. We're all very excited to have this very special guest with us in the studio today.
Yeah, very interesting guy. Super athletic, super creative. He's in the process of starting his own clothing brand. He's got a few blogs. He is also very gifted when it comes to art and expresses it in very many ways. We're going to dive right into that. He's a visionary, and when it comes to football and track, I consider him a prodigy. Jaxon Hume.
Thank you, my man. Thank you, HustlePedia. Shout out HustlePedia.
Thanks for coming on the show, man.
I appreciate the opportunity to come on to the show, talk about art, talk about life.
Yeah, for sure. And, you know, like Logan explained who Jaxon is pretty well. So today's episode is going to be heavily based around his football career, his clothing brand, and, you know, how he's deep into art and stuff. So we're going to get deep into those things and take a deep dive. So
all right, I just want to start the show off with telling us about any major turning points in your life that led you to where you are today.
Story of Jaxon.
Yeah.
Turning points, I mean, to this point today, I mean, if I were to talk to Jaxon like in 2019, it'd be a completely different conversation. I'd be happy about where I've ended up, but I would definitely be surprised because, you know, I mean, I guess it would be a turning point for a lot of us would be that pandemic when it shut down because, you know, as an athlete, you know, for a large part of my identity up until like last year was like just being an athlete, being football, track and field. And I've always been creative, but, you know, like, especially spending a lot of time on athletics in high school makes you focus a lot more on just, you know, the sport life, and it makes all your creative endeavors take a back seat. But I would say that pandemic, because when it shut down, you couldn't play football, you couldn't run track. I really had to sit with myself and like ask myself this question. I remember asking myself, so if I were to never play football again, what would I do? You know, like you just had to break it down to that because
big question, mate. Big question.
It's just like, I had to take it into the mindset as if like I was never going to play football again. And it went far beyond just like, you know, like sports. It was like my identity, you know, like there was something that was missing from my identity that I needed to find, you know? So, I mean, like started a blog like about a year ago called The Ninth Lane. You know, that was kind of like the introduction to that stuff.
What was that all about?
So The Ninth Lane, basically, I used to call it the art of passion. So it was more like a sport. I'd say it's dormant right now because like, I feel like I'm gonna come back to Ninth Lane because Defy, you know, everything always comes full circle. You never know what's gonna truly happen. But so basically, the Ninth Lane was basically a blog about like passion and like, excuse me.
And you would interview people on that though, right?
Yeah. So like the Ninth Lane was a blog about basically passion and the fact that like no matter what you do in life, as long as you have passion, you have power. So the mantra, that's where I developed my first mantra, being passion is power. Being like no matter what you think you are, what you can do, as long as you have like flaming passion in whatever craft it is. It can be freaking cooking, art, music, podcasting, puzzle making. Like you'll be successful because passion is power. You know,
Yeah, for sure, man. For sure.
Speaking facts.
So where did the inspiration come from art? Like, you know, like where did you start? You know, you're phasing from football as an athlete going to art. I feel like you don't see that as much with a lot of people. Like, you know, if you're an athlete, you're just always the stereotype is you're not super artistic or super smart. So how did you like phase into that? Like, where did that come from?
I would say I've always been interested in like creating stuff like that. So like in my junior high days, you know, I've always been into one thing that I've always been super passionate about is like making shirts, like making designs, garments. I've been doing that since like junior high. So even back in like my younger days, I would just like hop into like Illustrator, just whatever, just back when I had like that little Wacom tablet, you can just making up designs just because it's fun, you know, just being in that lab just makes you feel something. So once I got to high school, like started playing football, started running track and started, you know, being my full-time thing, that kind of took a back seat. So like that's why it's interesting about Ninth Lane, is because Ninth Lane I would say like opened the door to it's like my creative freedom because it gave me a platform for me to, you know, talk and not just talk but to write. And then so basically what really got me into art, because I was a blogger, because I was writing, you know, like I've always like when I got to university, you know, people started, you know, saying you're a nice writer, you know, you can communicate well. So that was an interest of mine, but it wasn't exactly a passion, but I knew I was good at it. So I was like, hey, I'll just write. But I was always like, okay, I need some cover art, okay?
Yeah.
Like I got to get some cover art for the blog.
Yeah.
So that's when I started drawing, and like, so I'll just drop some little doodles just for the cover art. But as soon as I started, it just like, the way I say it, I'm just like, it just felt so right as soon as it happened. It was like love at first sight, man. Just like.
So it gave you a sense of fulfillment.
Yeah.
Drawing.
Just couldn't stop, man. And I haven't been able to stop for like the past year now, man. I don't think I'll ever stop. I say
it's a part of you now, hey?
I say death by pencil or death by football, you know? It's like that, bro.
Yeah.
Like.
Crazy how you could just find a passion like that just out of nowhere, you know?
Yeah.
You got your sketchbook here. You mind showing the viewers a little bit of
I got
your art?
I got a few little things. I mean, Not too much as I got a new sketchbook, but I could definitely show you. These are the ones I should show here. This one that I like. I like this
Sick
Biggie
art.
one. Just this semi-realistic. I like playing with pen a lot. That Larry Hoover Drake reconnection. That shit was fire. Am I allowed to swear on here?
Yeah.
Say less. But yeah, that's because I started into portraits, you know, because like
Really?
I was always like when I first started,
What made you want to do portraits?
I was just like, to me, I'm just like, yo, like the face, like the human face is like, if you learn how to draw that, like you're blessed. Like that was my
challenging to
that was my
draw that,
thought
yeah.
process when I first started drawing. I was like, if you can draw like a human face, like a good human face, you're good. But like as I went on, like just what I love about art is that like, as you were saying before, like I'm a jumpy guy. Like it's
Yeah.
really taught me like patience, like the process. Like there's something so beautiful about art, about like just watching like these little shapes, these blocky shapes and lines like slowly just get built up into like a masterpiece. Like it's just super inspiring, and it makes you want to like stick it out.
So let's go over this character here.
Yeah, so this is my new guy right now. This is the one that I've been doodling, my character. So I basically call him Jacko. Okay, so
Okay, yeah.
we didn't. I don't think we headlined Defy, the brand itself.
Yeah, let's
first.
get right into that.
Yeah,
man.
what is
So-
Defy?
This is what I'm rocking right now, basically. So
Yeah, I got
if
one
y'all
on
can
too.
see that. Something a little simple, but if you can notice the word, it says defy, and you know,
What does that mean?
defy. First off, is a double entendre, but more so, it's an acronym for destiny eventually finds you.
What do you guys think about that one?
So,
Deep.
Yeah.
That's fire.
So I was sitting in my room one day and I was just thinking, I was actually thinking about like artist names, like tagger names, you know, and I was just
Yeah.
like Defy, because I'm like, I need something to tag, you know.
That's
So I used to go by
right.
Astro, but I was like, Astro's a little interesting. I want something with more meaning to it. So Defy, like destiny eventually finds you. Like when I heard that, I was just like, damn, like it's true. And the way I think about it is like, it's gonna sound pretty like
No, let
deep
it
and
out,
like
let it out.
broad, but like the amount of like alternate like combinations or possibilities that could happen in our life are so vast. You know, there's so much different shit that can happen. There's so much different stuff like that we can do. There's so much stuff that we're always thinking about, what we want to do. We have all these desires, we have all these wants and stuff like that. And like it can be a lot on your mind, you know, like just thinking about like
It weighs
all
heavy,
like
huh?
it weighs super heavy, you know, like just that anxiety is like, what am I gonna do? And you know, like along this journey, like it just made me realize like destiny eventually finds you. Like this shit finds you, like it comes full circle. And
Yeah.
like I think like even with like the art stuff, like I think the ninth lane needed to happen, even though the ninth lane like isn't like what I envisioned it would be a year from now, because I would obviously assume that I would have stuck with the ninth lane, you know, like build its way up, because ninth lane had a good concept, you know. I thought it had a good concept. I still think it does, but I'm like, you know, just things just happen. Ultimately, I literally just fell in love with art. I couldn't stop doing that. It was just on my mind way too much. I didn't have time to write, you know.
And you had to get it out somehow.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's like, even so, like the stuff that I learned, stuff that I experienced from the ninth lane is what helped me now in my journey
And
through Defy. And
I
stuff.
want you to go into that. I want you to go into the things that you learned from the ninth lane and how you use that information to better the Defy brand and where you're taking that.
Well, I'd say one thing I'm gonna do definitely that with Defy that I didn't do with ninth lane is I'm gonna take it a lot slower. You know, just me. I'm always super passionate about everything. You know, so I was super excited just to get like the message of the ninth lane out. I didn't exactly take my time thinking it through and like going through the process of actually, you know, making sure you're building up a community and building up a following. But
So you think you rushed it in a way?
I think both I didn't rush it and also I didn't give it enough time, because like I knew the ninth lane, because I had a like pretty decent amount of people come on, you know. I had like some nice names, some great conversations too. But there was just something about the ninth lane like that, like it didn't exactly fulfill me like I wanted to, you know.
Okay.
Like
You were still hungry.
I felt
Yeah.
good, like, you know, getting this message, but like sometimes there were times when it felt like a chore. But you know, I also understood like the power. I'm like, I really think like it could be something great, you know. But what I did learn about ninth lane, like truly, like is just simply passion is power. Like that, just always am repeating that stuff, always just getting in that zone and like thinking that like truly, because like, you know, people would ask, like, they'll see me drawing, you say you're so talented, and I'm just like, man, my talent is hard work, because it's like. You see me a year ago, I was drawing stick figures, man. Like seriously,
I remember
bro.
that. I
Like,
remember
times,
that
yeah.
back in the day when
It's
I would come
insane.
get a cut
exactly.
with your brother, and you'd show me your sketchbook, and it was definitely not at the caliber it is now.
Exactly, bro. Like this, like it's straight. Like I locked myself in my house, bro. Like years straight, just doing this stuff 24/7. But it's like, to me, it was like, because art's art is so much different than like, let's just say even like rap or something. Let's just say like you want to be a rapper. Like even if you've never rapped in your life, you could make a decent song to someone's ears like on your first try. But for art, if you try to draw something like on your first attempt, it's always gonna suck because it's that type of thing that literally just demands muscle memory, demands your time, demands your practice. You have to give, like when people talk about art, they talk about years. Like
years of practice.
I got decades under my belt, you know? And it's intimidating, but like it's always just about like, just keep going, man. Like if you need to take a break, take a break, few days, just get your mind recoup. But like you gotta just keep going if you really want that.
Stay consistent.
Exactly.
I think art also comes with like experience, you know, as you go through like experience more things in life, I guess, the more artistic you get, I feel like, because you see more things and you learn a lot more.
Most definitely.
I think that's why you're saying the decade under your belt. I feel like that's definitely true. Every artist you see is just, they've seen a lot that they can, you know, depict that picture on, you know, however their art is. So I think that's crazy. Where does the name Pirate Jackie come from? Like your name on your blogs, you know, Pirate Jackie.
Pirate Jackie.
What's the thought process?
This is gonna be funny to y'all, but long story short, I'm just a big ass One Piece fan. I'm a One Piece super fan.
Okay.
I love something like, and it's actually interesting just the way all this stuff like came together, because like this is gonna sound like a little nerdy, bro, but like
No, you got it.
I watched One Piece like around the same time like I started like the 9th lane, you know, and like
It's around 2019.
like my guy Luffy, like his energy is actually like unmatchable, bro. And like point blank, like it was so inspiring. Like he simply was just a dude that was just like, nah, like I don't give a fuck.
So
bro.
he's a
Like,
role model in a sense.
low key, bro, because he's just a guy that's just like, no matter what, like I'm gonna just do it with a smile on my face, because he's just like that, you know. It's just like just super inspiring. But also, you know, pirates are cool, you know. Like I'm just thinking like pirate, motherfucker, cool. You know, it just added to the mood. I was just like, Pirate Jackie. It had a nice ring to it, in my opinion.
Yeah,
you know?
definitely does.
So I want to ask about a little bit more on Defy, and I want to know where you want to take it, if it's more of a comic thing or more of a clothing thing, and if you're going to incorporate the two aspects.
So, you see, and that's another thing about me, is that like my mind's going at like 1,000 miles an hour. If I were to describe it, it'd be like scribbles with just like multiple words and phrases at the same time, because it's so hard to focus on one thing, especially with something like Defy. That's something that's so like
It's very broad.
and very like vast to me. I would love the way I see Defy, like if we're talking future wise, like, yo, like I see it as a lifestyle, because like to live life as if destiny eventually finds you is to just live today, you know, be in the moment today, do what you can today, and just continue, because no matter what you do, destiny eventually finds you. When it all falls down, what do you do next? You know, like just keep going, because regardless of like whatever has happened, whatever will happen, it's all going to come full circle. And like everything that has happened in my life has made me who I am. Everything that's happened in your life, like everything, no matter what trials, tribulations, like it's all a part of your story, and it's all made you who you are. And like that is destiny. Like this moment right now is destiny.
That's
like,
deep, man.
like
That's fact.
I'm trying to, like ultimately my goal is just to inspire people, you know? Like that was the same thing with the 9th lane. Like my goal was to inspire people, like especially in these trying times, like to inspire people like with the notion that like, hey, like as long as you have passion in anything, and I say passion, but I mean passion and consistency. I say passion in football too. I say passion and consistency is what makes a champion.
Why do you think they're so important to be connected to each other?
Because like you can be passionate about something, but like if you're not consistent about it, if you're not consistent with your work, if you're not consistent with your effort, if you're not consistent with your, you know, with your habits, you're not going to go anywhere. Because like passion, like y'all know me, I'm a pretty animated guy, got a lot of energy, but like growing up, a lot of the time passion can get, you know, mistaken for like, you know, like anger or like, you know, overbearingness. Like, so I've always understood like, you know, like passion is just, the way I see it is like an abundance of energy. If you have an abundance of energy, like, yeah, that's nice. It's good that you care a lot about something, but like, what are you going to do now that you care so much about it? Like I can care so much about like art, but if I just like never actually do the art, if I'm not consistent,
I mean,
like,
just think about it. Nothing's gonna happen.
Exactly.
Right.
Like the action part, like you know, like you can have the perfect plan in your head, but like, so you think that taking action is the most important, executing. It doesn't matter if you're
keyword right there,
if you're,
action.
yeah, because if I'm here planning everything, like, you know, if we were just like planning this podcast for months and months and months, but if nothing is putting out, then there's no execution. You know, it just doesn't matter. Everybody can think of doing things, it's easier to do, but the action is the hardest part.
True.
So like starting off, like, so when you took that first step where you know, like started getting into art, I'm sure it was a very different phase of everything that you've been through. So how did you like, you know, how did you tell yourself that this is it? Like, you know, you've switched from like a completely different background to something very new to you. And a lot of people have trouble just taking that first step. So what would you advise to them, people who want to take that first step? That's just everybody's worried.
Just do it, you know? You don't worry about what anyone else cares, you know? Just focus on, if you have that passion, then you will have that power, because like at the end of the day, like, and here's actually one thing that I learned when I moved away from home, you know, as like a 17-year-old kid living by yourself in a big city, like it's the most bittersweet feeling to understand that like no one gives a shit about you.
Yeah.
Like
Wow,
it's really empowering, but it's also humbling, because it's like, damn, like no matter what I do, like no one's gonna look.
Yeah, don't matter.
We all have a sad story. Like it doesn't matter.
When you first started, did you care about what other people would have thought about your drawings?
Definitely. And I think I still do today, because like obviously, like, I mean, like I've been playing football since I was like 5 years old. I've been running track since I was like, like 11. So like a large part of my identity, you know, a large part of what makes me who I am is the fact that I'm an athlete. So to switch from something like athletics and like, you know, being whatever, like all big football star and shit like that, like to just like whatever artist, like it definitely is going to make people be like, what's this guy talking about? You know? So like even still to this day, like that's why I waited so long to even like start, like I still haven't like plugged my account like on my like main Instagram, because like I'm still part of me is always just gonna be like
A
little scared because like, man, like what these mans are like, they don't, you know, understand it, because I'm like, the thing about me especially is like I don't like being put in a box, you know, like just being put in the box is like, oh, you're just the athlete guy.
It's detrimental to you.
And like I've learned that a lot more ever since I like grew. I'm gonna say like post-pandemic grew, because like that's when I really understood that like I'm way more than an athlete, you know? Like I came in, when I went into university, all I thought about was just like, man, I gotta go to the league, man, I gotta do this, I gotta do that. And obviously like I always say I'm like going to the league first and foremost, like that's my goal, that's my passion, that's what I'm gonna do. Football is intertwined with my soul, but like you know,
there was still something missing at the end of the day.
Yeah, football used to be my identity, who I was, but now it is a part of my identity.
Yeah.
And I'm
you
really
can only
happy.
play football for so long, you know? You can do art for the rest of your life.
Yeah, and that's how I think about it too. I'm like, man, like I can do art until I'm like 105, bro. Like football, I'm out at like 30 max.
Yeah, 30, you're done. Then the brain starts to go.
Your
to shit.
brain is like, yo, what's going on? You know,
I respect that so much. How you were able to find that and really showcase that without taking the judgment in a bad way.
Yeah,
It's really hard for people to do. You know, take that step outside of their comfort zone and express what they're so passionate about.
Yeah,
it takes a lot.
I think that's super hard for athletes, because, you know, they get that, like, you know, like you said, the identity is just like you're an athlete. That's what you're like. You end off your life as that. Even if you make it to the league, there's a lot of people that don't end up making to the league because it's so like crowded to begin with. So I think like the fact that you're like, it's inspirational that other athletes can kind of see that you're not only an athlete. You know, there's like opportunities are limitless. You can be an athlete, but you can also be something else that you actually want to be other than an athlete. And I think that's super important, because like being an athlete, it'll stay with you for like the rest of your life, of course, but it's going to end at one point. That's just the most like rational, optimistic thing to believe, that no matter how good you are, it ends at a certain point. And a lot of people don't end up making it. So to have that identity is, I think that's super important to believe that.
Yeah, for
time beats all man, exactly. And it's just like,
that.
like it's definitely, I feel, you know, a little more free now that I'm able to like actually have something that I can express myself into, because now it's like if I'm not you know doing work, if I'm not doing something, doing sports, like I'm in my books, you know, like in my sketchbook, just trying to get better, because
Working
like,
for yourself in a way.
exactly. And it's just like, man, like it's interesting you say like about that identity. And I think a lot of athletes that actually suffer from like I would argue like football players too, like just from like an identity thing, because like
They're very 2D.
yeah,
right?
like I obviously, like, you know, going along your way and being, you know, playing university football, you see, you know, a lot of people, you understand a lot of people who like, you know, football is their life, you know, and football is my life too. But like, I also had to come to terms with like football, you know, there's life outside of football. But like at the same time, I've always loved football. I loved playing football, but like I've never been like, you know, like, I guess like a fanatic about like NFL. Like I don't really watch NFL. I don't watch CFL. And I know if you want to be better, you have to. But like I've always just had more interests that go beyond sport, you know. So it's like I'm also grateful to have that, you know, like just naturally, you know, like I might drop 3 touchdowns on Friday, but I'm gonna go fucking like.
So would you say you're very open-minded?
Open-minded?
Would you say you are?
I would like to say that I am. I'm trying to learn to be better. I think I can naturally be like pretty stubborn, but definitely like. I've been trying to learn to try new things and like be open to stuff, because one thing that I've also started to learn is that like there's hardly like in life like a right or wrong. It's more just iterations and interpretations of like what someone thinks. Like I see life as art now. Like what we're doing right now is art. Like football is art, sports art, tracks art. Like they're all like, you know, it's so beautiful if you actually want to break it down and like interpret it in a specific way. Like I think about football in such a poetic way. Like what I think about football is like, it's what makes it so beautiful is that everyone, like no matter what shape or size you are, can play football. Like you'll have like the star like athlete like being buddy with like the band kid, like the jock, because like that's just what it means to be on a football team. Like and like all your prejudices are set aside once you step on the field, because you got to ball out for each other. You know that like that's family. It takes like all 12 of you to actually like do something.
So Jackie, those sketches in your notebook, you ever think of, you know, creating them into NFTs and ever like pursuing that in a way?
Yeah, I mean, like it's definitely interesting. Just like thinking about where the Defy brand itself can go. I definitely thought about NFTs the way like the way the world is going, but like kind of in a different way. It's interesting. We've kind of been, me and my little bro kind of been messing with a lot of concepts, because I'm trying to get into that stuff with him, and we just talking about like kind of like incorporating it as like an avatar in the metaverse. Like let's say we was thinking about making like little cards, you know, like
good looks.
like trading cards, but like they'd be an NFT, but also like convertible as like an avatar in the metaverse. So like,
so you want to like, incorporate it in the metaverse. That's pretty fun.
like obviously like logistically like you got to figure all that stuff out, like especially like since the metaverse is like in its infancy right now, but like hopefully down the road like there'd be a situation where that can be like easily applicable, and like
100%.
you can actually do that shit, because I think that'd be hard. Like
Yeah, like turning your art into like having utility behind your art as well, like, you know, a meaning behind it. Like you already have a meaning, and keeping it like, you know, deeper meaning for like you said, you want to inspire people. So if you bring people together through an NFT kind of, and you do that, I think that would be sick.
Yeah, for real. And like community is a big part of NFTs, honestly.
Exactly.
Like if you have a big community, which I'm sure you will, you have a really unique shit going on.
Appreciate it.
And like, you know, if you get that community with the NFT and everything, like it'll be some big, I feel it.
And that's what I'm saying. Like I feel like making like a Defy universe. Like we were talking about characters and stuff like that. Like you introduce characters, but like it's all part of like a story, you know, something bigger, because like Destiny eventually finds you. You know, like has to be something that has like tangible meaning to it, because I think that's what would set it apart from like just a traditional like shout out to them Bored Apes, but like the like a Bored Ape, like I don't know, like I'm still a novice when it comes to NFTs. Obviously, I'm aware of its value. I'm aware of its I appreciate as an artist. I appreciate great artists, but like, you know, like I gotta get my head more into it. Like
Do a little bit more research.
Yeah,
kind of
most
thing.
definitely.
You want your NFTs to have like real meaning, utility, and like just with your whole theme and everything.
Exactly, because I mean like obviously we know like NFTs are like digital art, so like you don't have that a physical piece of art on your wall, so it loses a lot of that like tangible value just
And
from the fact that it's not
just
physical. So like to make up for that, it'd have to have like, you know, a value, like because like humans like attaching meaning to shit. So it's like to have an actual meaning just associated with the photo, and that's what I think is good about Defy, because just the word itself, Defy,
It means a
holds
lot.
meaning. Like it has meaning within itself. So I'm grateful for that. You know, that's Defy, you know, shit comes full circle. So like, I'm happy that it's in that position, as opposed to like having like, it'll make the like development of like the story a little less complex on me.
And you were talking about like character. Did you ever think about turning it into like a video game or anything crazy like that?
Yeah.
You've had those thoughts.
I've been tinkering like,
tell me
yo,
about it.
so 2021, my year, like my goal was just, you know, just to get my art game up, learn the fundamentals, get confident with that stuff. So now 2022, I'm trying to get into Blender, 3D modeling and stuff like that. So, you know, it's definitely, that learning curve is a lot different from like actually just traditional drawing, but
How so?
bro, it's like it's CGI. It literally is CGI. So it's like computer stuff, programming stuff. And it's like, the way I say it is, I'm just like, bro, like Blender, you actually have to use your brain power. You have to think. Like you need to use rational reason, logic. But like with art, you can literally just do it. Anything. I can do art in my bed, but like Blender, you got to be up and attentive. Like because there's a lot of stuff. There's like shit. There's math. There's like functions and programming and stuff like that. Like it's complicated and it's daunting. It's really daunting. But I just think to myself, I'm just like, future me will need this. Future me will be so thankful when I learned, that I took the steps to like actually understand and learn Blender, because once you understand like program as like vast as Blender, the opportunities are endless,
and understand it to a deep
exactly
too,
like because it's like it may be a free software, but it's actually like pretty powerful, very powerful, and like
the value that it would give you too at the same time.
Exactly, because it goes like you can turn your stuff into real world. Like, I can draw whatever I want here, but if I can model that in Blender, we talking like 3D prints, we talking about like animations, rendering, like stuff like that, like actually like building stuff for the real world. And like, in my life, like late down the road, I want to be able to like have that ability to like create things. I just love creating. I think creation is the essence of humanity, in the same way that I think passion is like to be passionate, just to want more, to like be in pursuit of excellence. That's what it means to be human. Like, freaking we're like Neanderthals, and you're thinking like, okay, like if I use this rock to kill that, I'll eat, but if I use fire, it'll make it taste better, just that notion of humanity, just trying to one up themselves no matter what. Like, I just think that's what it means to be human, because even in shit like that, that's creative. That's creativity.
Even taking that extra step, because lots of people go like point A to point B.
Yeah.
But in a sense here, you're taking that extra step to the side.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people skip that step.
Yeah. Like, I just think like, we're most free like when we're just creating. I think I took a philosophy class. It's funny. Like we were talking about like, they said that like the meaning of life is like reason for humans. I can kind of get down with that, because I think like what makes us different from everyone, our greatest superpower and our greatest weakness is like how we think. Like we are always thinking. We're going to think, we're going to overthink, we're going to underthink, but we're always, no matter what, we're always going to want more, Like we're always going to try to do better. Always going to, it's that passion to try to outdo ourselves. Like, that's the reason why we're here right now, and we're not like like freaking huts, because we're just like like we
like, to drive.
This humanity was just like, no, we got to do better. And I mean, like obviously, like if we can talk about like the dark side of humanity and like how there you can be too much, but like
it's almost a whole nother episode.
It is a whole nother episode, but like generally like the drive, like I associate like passion with like drive, just wanting to aspire to be better, and I don't think there's anything wrong with aspiring to be better.
I think you should always level up in life, no matter where you're at, because the best of the best. Like look at that. We've. I'm sure if we went back to our parents' time, and now where we're at, it's so much different. And like now we're heading, and by the time we all have kids, it's gonna be so much more different. We're not even gonna realize it, because everybody wants to just do more and level up. And I think it's just human nature to always do more. And people are always gonna level up, because like you said, we don't live in huts anymore. There's like soon there's gonna be like, now the metaverse is coming, all that stuff that's coming. It's just it's like it's gonna be a whole new world by the time we're in our older ages, and it's just gonna keep going. It's just a ongoing process, and that's just what it comes down to. So I want to like kind of fade it into like like you said, another part of your identity was football. You said and track as well. So just like you're like at you had it.
You played at New York for a couple of years.
Yeah.
So can you just tell us a little bit more about your experience there?
Yeah. So I graduated 2019 from Harry Ainley, and then I went to York University 2019. I've been there ever since. York Lions in Toronto, Ontario. So it's real nice. I mean, I've had fun at York. It's a tremendous experience. I always say that, just in the same way I always say Defy, like I wouldn't be where I am without what I went through at York, what I've gone through, because like that's the experience that I needed to understand in order to grow and go forward. I'm really grateful for the lessons, just like moving out has taught me, like, it's crazy. Like when you like being independent. Like,
because I think it's necessary for every man to live by themselves for a period of time.
And outside of your home city.
I feel like it's
100%.
crucial at like around our age.
It's definitely necessary for you to understand yourself.
Yeah, it's not to say that like like you shouldn't live under your parents' house financially. Like of course you have financial freedom before you actually move out and be able to take care of yourself. But I feel like,
but to grow.
Yeah, because like I think like a lot of people, parents like it's hard to explain. Like they're not living the lifestyle that we're living. They're not living this time, and we see the opportunities. We like have to kind of like. It's not that I don't want to follow the rules of the family, but I also feel like I need to like they're not like none of our parents are always going to be around, so you kind of have to like get up by yourself, and the faster you do that independently and kind of just move on with that and learn the experiences, like, because that's life. Then you're actually learning life. Right now, we're comfortable. We're still comfortable by living in our parents' house.
Yeah.
You know, we've got a roof over our head. We don't have to worry about the bills. We don't have to worry about none of that stuff because we haven't had that pressure. But when that actually comes, that's real life. And I feel like every man or even a woman at the age of 20-ish, like, you know, 20, early 20s, you have to face it. And I feel like that's so important to grow. Like, and outside of your city, like, I feel like you have to get out of your home city always.
It really forces you to stretch out your arm.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Your city?
It's like that opportunity to leave the city. Like it really humbles you. Like it makes you realize, like, damn, like I'm the only one here.
Yeah, I'm a nobody here. I got nobody. Like I got no friends. I got no.
I got
nobody.
Safety.
My
net.
mom's not.
Especially
Yeah,
in a
exactly.
big city like Toronto.
Yeah, like you're like you know, like I'm sure, like, you know, you had a lot of friends in high school. You have had a really good, like, we went to high school together, so I've seen, like, you know, had a good high school life. But then you go into a phase where it's just like, I got nobody. Nobody cares what Jaxon Hume is here. You're like,
no
what do I
one
do?
gives a shit, bro.
What was that transition like?
Like I said, it's super humbling because you go from like, being like all this big, all whatever. And then you just go to sitting by yourself, you know, just, and like, like, it's true. Like, I don't even want to sound like that vain guy, but like, like I had a successful high school career, but like, you know, at the same time, like that don't mean shit. Like in the real world, like,
Especially in a different city.
Yeah. And exactly. Especially in a different city,
Yeah.
like no one means like that don't give a shit. And, you know, like, I'm happy I don't give a shit because like, you know, like it allowed me to grow from a different perspective
100%.
and to understand like, okay, like I'm just another dude. And like, I'm grateful because I made a lot of friends along the way. You know, I've had a lot of great experiences, learned so much about like passion, teamwork, and just like what it just means to be a man, be great.
And do you think it really forced you to make a name for yourself in a different city? You know, you really have to step out of your comfort zone in a way.
I wouldn't say it like forced me to. I would say that like it kind of just like happened, you know, like it was just like, you know, I just kind of wanted to go out there and just do what I always did, you know, like be able to play football, be able to run track, and just be able to just enjoy my life. And I always just think back to like even my first year, just like how grateful I am to have like had that experience, because like I didn't play a lot of offense in my first year, but I was still able to. And like that really did bother me, you know.
Why?
That bothered me, just like, you know, just being a youth, just being like, oh man, like what, y'all sleeping on me, what are you doing? But you know, like that mindset is just, it's not going to get you in the right spot. So I just had to readjust my mindset, because although I wasn't playing on offense, they were playing me on kickoff return, special teams. So I was like, okay, so if I'm not going to play offense, that's okay. I'm gonna just be the best special teamer in the entire country.
I love that.
So that's my goal, you know, just in like making that your life, making that your job. And I mean, like I was fortunate enough to be like an OUA all rookie. So I'm thankful for that, to transition that over to track. And even just to like, my goal, even from track and field, was just to like compete at U Sports, like the national championships. And like, because they were in Edmonton, you know, in 2020. So like I got the opportunity to. I ran in the 4x400 relay, you know, I obviously didn't do my best, but like just being in that atmosphere, getting the baton in my home city, just running for like my school, like it's
Getting that chance.
it was super like, I just felt so powerful, and I just felt so like, that experience, it made me feel super like fulfilled, and I felt super like happy and just like pleased with where I was, but also I'm like something about, I just have this unwavering like hunger at all times, and like sometimes it drives you to insanity, but I'm just like, it's just the way it is, you know. I'm always gonna just, in the same way we were just talking about, like that's just what humans want. Humans want more. Like I'm always just like, when I take up something, like I come fixated on it.
Yeah,
like,
you come obsessed.
laser focused, like can't stop. In the same way, like, you know, became an artist like that. Like even before art, like I was juggling. I literally took up juggling because it was just like,
And
juggling.
you became good at it.
Let me tell you all about juggling, yo. Super good for your mind, keeps you nice and relaxed, improves your hand-eye coordination very well. Like I actually strongly recommend taking.
How long did
juggling.
it take you to learn juggling?
Yo, like it actually, you can probably learn, if you learn how to do like the 2 balls in one hand, like just one, you can probably learn how to juggle in like a day.
Really?
Seriously, like
No
juggling,
way.
it's simple. Just like the simple 3-ball cascade. And then like, once you just keep doing that, you're going to master that in like a day. And then like, you're good from there. Like you can keep trying to like tricks and stuff like that. But like, once you learn like the fundamentals, you're good. And like juggling is just something like, it's so funny because like people would be like, oh, what are you doing? But it's just like, if you're like a little stressed, bro, just pick up some juggling just like for like 2 minutes. Like it actually like, it's just relaxing. It's like a little
It's a
fidget
vice.
thing. Certainly.
Yeah.
Certainly. And like,
Juggling is a way to relax. I've never heard of that.
Yeah. I could try it, Barca.
Yeah, it looks
you really
stressful.
should, yo.
I
Like,
suck at juggling though. I need to learn.
yeah, like I was surprised too. Like, y'all remember like Mr. Powell from Ainley? Like he literally was the one that taught me how to juggle.
That's crazy. So what, like, as in like playing, you know, like, what do you think like the impact of sports in your life? You played at a youth sports level, you know, you're a very good athlete. I've seen it myself, you know, you're playing all with track when it comes to football, both of them, you excelled in both of them, and like going to a place where, you know, you like, it was brand new for you, like we already talked about, but what has like sports itself has just impacted your life? Like you said, it's a part of your identity, but you just dive deep into like just sports itself.
So sport is amazing first and foremost, but I'll say football specifically is what I've been saying this since 2018. Football is intertwined with my soul. It's just, I do not play football. Football is just simply who I am, you know, like when I touch that field, when I touch that track, I feel as if I become a different person. Just the unboundless.
In a good way or a bad way?
Take it as you will. I mean, I'm a man of much passion. I like to say it's a good way because to me, I feel
For the opponents in the bad way.
I feel unbounded freedom, you know, like when I'm on the football field, like you just feel like you can do whatever you want. And like, I've always just, whenever I play football, I've just felt like it was just such an amazing expression. It was so fitting for like someone like me, just someone who's so passionate, just someone who just like, football is such a game with so much intensity and so much energy, and that is like I relish in that all the time. And it's so crazy, actually. This is an amazing question when I think about it, because it's like football and track are like they're yin yang, because it's like football demands of you to be like intense, high energy, and like, you know, attentive and focused and like tense. But you know, track, you have to stay relaxed, you have to calm down, make sure your muscles are calm, making sure that your mind is okay, making sure that you're refreshed, you're well rested, and you're good to go. So like, it's so crazy how like, especially what's always most interesting for me is when football season ends and I transition to track season. Because you can hear like, you can just feel the difference of like, you know, mentality. You know, it goes from like, you know, like, let's go, like, let's fucking, you know, just straight high, turn it up on 100 to like,
to what?
To like just straight like, okay, like, yeah, like we're turning up, but it's just in a different way. It's like, we're working together as a team, but at the same time, like it's always about like making sure that your mind and your body are working together, but they're relaxed at the same time. Because like the thing about running, fun running fact for y'all, if you run fastest when all of your muscles are most fully relaxed.
Really?
Yeah, because when you're running tense, you waste energy on tensing muscles.
Okay.
So you run most efficiently when your muscles are fully relaxed. I'm talking like down to your cheeks. That's why if you watch great sprinters, Usain Bolt, Gatlin, Christian Coleman, all their cheeks are always going to be jiggling, because that's like the epitome of relaxation. Because when you're relaxing, everything is flowing together. So like to actually like learn that relaxation, because I've been running track for like almost a decade now.
You said since you're 11, right?
Yeah, like time. Like I'm 20. Like I'm 20 like next week. So like yeah. So it's like, thank you. So it's like it took me so long to actually learn how to run like relaxed. I remember even back when I was in like high school, my coach would always tell me, he's like, you're running nice, but you just got to relax. He's like, if you relaxed, you'd be here, but you're here now. And it's like, it's a big difference. And like that's the thing about track, is it's so like precise. You know, track, it comes down to 0.01 seconds. And no matter how much a common viewer will just be like, oh, whatever, it's just like 1/100th of a second. Like
it
that
really
is,
matters, though.
people will be working like 5 years just to get that down, you know, like.
Just to get that,
like that
1/100th of a second.
Yeah.
Usain Bolt said, I'm not going to quote it word for word, so pardon me, but something about how he practiced for 9 years to run 9 seconds.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
Actually, I think it was a 9-plane fact that I used to put up back then. I was like, Usain Bolt ran, I think it was 175 seconds in his entire Olympic career. Like, and you train just picture it week by week. You train your entire week, like 2-3 hours a day, lifting for like 2 hours a day just to run for like 10 seconds. Like all that moment comes down to that pressure. And I'll say one thing. I mean, I can't speak for all sports, but my personal bias will say that there is no sport that gives you more anxiety than on your mark.
That's scary, right?
And then because you hear people cheering,
And
talking,
then everybody gets ready.
silence. On your mark, silence. No one's talking. It's just like,
I bet you just hear your own heartbeat.
you can hear a pin drop. I don't know if I was talking to you about this, but like I went to back in 2016, I went to the like the Canada national champions, the Olympic trials, because they were in Edmonton.
You were chatting me about that.
Yeah.
Cool. I want to hear it again.
The 100-meter final. So like that was when like Andre DeGrasse, like Aaron Brown, like all biggest Canadian sprinters, they were all in that race. So Footfield was packed. Okay, pre-COVID, like shoulder to shoulder. Everyone's talking. Everyone's so loud, but you hear on your mark, the entire field. Dead silence. Like it's like a switch was flipped. Like you could drop a pin in there and you could hear it. Like it was just that atmosphere. Like gives me goosebumps just to think about it to this day.
So Jaxon, moving on just a little bit from where we're headed, I want to ask you, with track and football, do you have any future plans and where do you see it taking you?
I mean, with sports, I've always loved sports. I think it's I love to say that like I'm happy that I found art as an expression, but football will always be like football and track will always be like the optimal ways that I like have expressed like most of my energy. So I'm gonna try to take it as far as I go, as far as I can possibly go. Like regardless of where I am, what I do, I'm always trying to give it my all. So as football, like I'm gonna do the best that I can. My goal is to be a professional athlete, hopefully CFL. But the position I'm in right now, I just got a lot to go. So I'm just trying to, I guess for this next year, just really just put my head down and just kind of get myself in the right spot, just making sure that I have an opportunity to actually, express how much I truly care about just not even just the sport of football, but just life, man. Like I just care about people. I just try to be an amazing teammate, just something that I was trying to do back when I was in my second year at York was just the mantra that I tried to go about, or not mantra, but like mindset that I wanted people to understand was like, I can come off as a goofy guy, like happy, whatever, but like, no matter what, especially in Toronto, because like being a kid from Edmonton coming to Toronto, like you're in a different. Not only are you by yourself, but you're also in a different spot. Like you don't talk. They can sniff you. You're an outsider as soon as you get there. So it's like I didn't want none of that to hinder like the way that we function as a team. So I wanted people to understand that no matter what you are, who you are, how you sound, what you like, what you dislike, if you pull up every single day at the right time, and if you're giving your everything, like that's all you need to do to be great. Passion and consistency, like that is all that we need to share in order for us to be excellent.
Preach, my friend.
Like, and then and that's literally the essence of football, because everyone comes from these different walks of life, but well, we step on the field, put your lunch bucket on, and let's all work together and let's be great, because like that's the only way you're going to succeed in life. Like, humans stronger together.
Yeah. So, knowing everything that you know now and given everything that you've been through, because you have quite a story, living from Edmonton, moving to yourself at Toronto, 17 years old in a big city. What advice would you give your younger self, knowing everything you know now?
Younger self, like how old? Like 12 or like 15?
Let's go 11, because that's when
Like
you're on
11,
track.
10,
Yeah,
11.
let's go 11.
We'll say 11. Okay. That's an interesting time, honestly. If I were to tell my 11-year-old self, I would actually say be free. I'd be like, man, just don't be afraid to express yourself, because I think for a lot of my life, I was just kind of afraid to express myself, because I was worried about breaking the box that people were putting me in. So I just, once you break out, you feel so much more free and you feel so much more like yourself, I guess, So like, feel free to experiment, like, be creative, think, challenge yourself, like just compete with yourself,
And you would have never discovered some things about yourself if you didn't step out that box. So
Yeah,
for
exactly.
everybody watching, you never know. You might surprise yourself.
And like destiny eventually finds you. Like, who knows what you're doing? You could be playing like freaking like solitaire right now, but who knows what you learned from solitaire is going to have an impact on like whatever you do in life, because like that's just what it is. Even if you don't think it will, just the small strategies or stuff that you learned about going that just mindset, just like, and that's kind of, I truly believe that like that the stuff that we've learned like in every way just like makes up how you go about a situation and like how you've been in that situation and how it's going to help. It's going to help you, or it's going to hinder you in either way, depending on how you feel about it. But, I just think like, like another day, another dollar, like let's just, destiny eventually finds you, like I don't know what more to say. Like,
So now you look at life with the Defy glasses on?
really, I really cannot take the Defy glasses on, no pun intended. Like, man, like, it's just like, it's really helpful, especially when you're in like them down times, because you're just like, hey man, like, just got to keep going, because it's like, it's actually funny you say that. Like it was a little sketch. This is back when I was in one of my little moods at the night, but like kind of just like that. Okay. I'm gonna show it to y'all. I'm gonna read it out though. Basically just saying like, hey, you can just ignore this. But like basically when you're in the mindset, it's like, even if you see like this dude going up like that big hill, and he got like that monster behind him. He's just like, even though you have like a long road to climb, you guys can't really see this.
We'll put the pictures up. Don't worry for the video.
Y'all can't really see that. It's literally just a quick little sketch, you know, because I'm a human. Like humans feel sad too. Like I was feeling sad. I was in a, you know, it was late night. You know, man's was thinking. I'm telling you.
In your feels.
Exactly, bro. Like we all human. We all do that. But it's like, be it as it may, defy. You know, triumph or tribulation, defy. No matter what position we're in, destiny eventually finds you. We just have to keep going.
I love to hear you talk, Jaxon, and I think we're gonna have to make a few episodes.
Yeah, we'll have Jaxon back for
love
sure.
to come back
for
man.
more shows as
Cool.
your projects roll out and your ideas come to like presence to everybody else and everybody can see it, and we'll have you back for sure. But I think that was a really good episode. I hope you guys got some great wisdom from him. Awesome. And he talked about a lot of art and stuff. So, if you're anybody that's passionate, he, like we said, it connects to our show as well, because everybody that's sitting on the table is passionate, and he believes in passion is power. So you can see that if you're passionate about something, and like he said, take action. So, you got to execute your plan at the end of the day, no matter if it's perfect or not, just shoot your shot always. So we want to thank Jaxon for coming to the table today.
Thank you
so much.
Appreciate it very
Thank
much.
y'all for having me on. Shout out HustlePedia. I appreciate a group of passionate young men, man.
We're going to have all of Jaxon's links in our description. Make sure to check them out, because again, he's got this new clothing brand coming out.
Yes,
I personally really like
Destiny
it.
eventually finds you.
If you mess with this, make sure to give him a follow on Instagram. It'll be in the description. Okay.
Yeah, it'll also be popping up right now here for his.
Check out the audio on Apple Music and Spotify.
Oh,
Yeah, for sure. Go ahead. They'll be like a little bit longer. Maybe we'll see, but check those out. Definitely like this video too. If you want to see more videos, in the comments, let us know how you felt about the video, and if anything else you guys are looking for more than this. And also subscribe. So if you like those videos,
definitely.
for
If
sure.
you made it this far, please hit that sub button.
You better sub to HustlePedia.
You heard the man. You
Stay
heard
tuned.
Stay tuned.
And yeah, thank you. You could be anywhere on YouTube, but you choose to be here watching us, and we appreciate that immensely. For now, HustlePedia out.